Hello, my people. It's engineer. Okay, we are going to talk about the calculation of staircase. Okay, what you have to know about staircase, like the length of the tree, the number of steps, the height of the riser. So, what is important to know is, like, first of all, we have to know the vertical height of our staircase, like the height from the ground floor to the first floor or to the next floor or to a upper floor, because we know that the staircase is actually a means of displacement for a vertical displacement. Okay, so like to move from one floor to another upward. Okay, so that's the first thing. We need to have this vertical height. Okay, so to get the number of steps actually for your staircase is very simple. We are going to use the standard given by Blondel, which is actually a francophone architect from the 17th century that actually wrote a lot of standard or rules governing the comfort of a staircase. Okay, so following Blondel said that the heiser, the ideal heiser height should be equal to or around 17 centimeter. Okay, so in the conception of your staircase, following the Blondel standard the sake of comfort actually, because it's good to build, but it's also good to build something that is useful. Okay, because if your construction or your building or your structure is not actually useful or comfortable, people will not use it and it will be a wastage of money. Okay, so Blondel said that the ideal height for the riser should be turning around 17 centimeter. So what you have to do to get the number of steps for your staircase, when you know already the vertical height of your staircase, you just say the number of steps ns is equal to the vertical height h, which is 3 meter 20 there, divided by 17. Okay, so numerical application, you have 320, that's 3.2 meter, convert into centimeter, divide by 17 centimeter. Okay, so doing punching the value, you obtain 18.87. Okay, so ns is equal to 18.87. Okay, that's the number of steps for your that you need for your staircase. But knowing that we cannot actually build a 0.87 staircase, we round up this value to ns is equal to 19 steps. Okay, so at the end of the day, the number of steps ns is equal to 19. Okay, now you have the number of steps. We found the number of steps, that's 19 steps. Okay, so now how do you get the length of the riser, the height of the riser, excuse me, and the length of the thread? Okay, how do you get those values? You will still need the Blondel formula, the commonly known Blondel formula, which state that two riser. Okay, two riser, as you see, for the sake of this exercise of this class, we have the riser noted r and the thread noted t. And I even forgot, the riser is actually the vertical distance. Okay, the vertical distance that you jerk your leg up to put on the next step, or on the next horizontal part of your staircase. Like when you are climbing your staircase, right, every time that you rise your leg, that very right that you are supposed to at least reach to be able to go to the next steps, right, that vertical height, this vertical height, that's what is called actually the riser. And this part actually of your staircase, this horizontal part, is actually what we call the tread, that horizontal distance on which your leg is standing every time that you are moving from one step to another. Okay, this is what is called a tread. Okay, so Blondel formula state that two riser plus one tread, okay, is should be within the range of 63 to 65 centimeter. That's for the sake of comfort, because Blondel actually thought of the comfort of people using staircase, and found out after some research that for a comfort to have a comfortable staircase, you have to apply this two riser plus one trade should be within the range of 63 to 65 centimeter. And even went further to say for a maximum comfort, you should have one riser, okay, plus one tray is equal to 46 centimeter. This when you are looking for a maximum comfort, okay, when you are looking for a maximum comfort. So this is what we will even use for a maximum comfort. So now that's how that's what we will use to actually know what is the length of our tray and the height of our riser. But before that, we found the number of steps for this staircase of 3.2 meter height, right? Now we have to get the real height of the riser. So as we have the number of steps, to have the real height of the riser, 2 point real height, I will call it RH, okay, R small h is equal to what? You take the 3 meter 20 divided by the number of steps that you got, and then you have the real height of your riser, okay, of one riser, the real height. That's after numerical application, you have the answer of 16.884 centimeter. So this actually the real height corresponding to 19 steps. So for 19 steps, one of your riser should be of height 16.884 centimeter. But these values are all decimal number, and you know in Shanti it's not that easy to have to measure those decimal number. So this is where we come in with the Blondel formula to not only to check the comfort but also to enable to round up in usable number, because this is where an engineer is different from the scientist student, because this is where the scientist student will stop when he got the exact value, and the engineer will go further to find the value that is actually applicable, the applicable value, or the executable value, like the value that we actually use for execution on site, okay. So I will decide to use the second formula of Blondel for more comfort. I will write, so one riser, I already know, I find my riser, which is 16.884, okay, plus one tray is equal to what? To 40, should be equal to 46 centimeter. So at the end of the day, I'll have my tray, that's 46 centimeter minus this also in centimeter. I know, remember 16.84 centimeter. So the trait will be equal to what? Let me punch it. So we'll have a trait of length 29.15, which is can be rounded up to 29.2 centimeter. This is the trait of our staircase, or the trait of one step, okay, the length of the trait for one step. But remember again, we still have decimal number, so which are not actually easy to be executed on site. So now we will have to take the number that can be easily measured on site and executed, okay. So for that, we will work instead with a riser length of 29 centimeter. So here it's very easy for a technician, for example, on site, to cut a board of 15, maybe at a length of 29 centimeter, or instead of asking him to cut a board of 29.2 centimeter, okay. So now here we have an executable value or an applicable value. So now what of the height of the riser, this 16.84? Now we have to find also its applicable value, or the value that can be actually used on site. So assuming now that we have our trait of 29, so Since our trait is 29, we apply again, we substitute it again back in the Blondel formula. So one riser plus our now 29 centimeter as trait should be equal to 46 centimeter. This is centimeter also. So at the end of the day, to have the real riser height, or the applicable riser height, let me call it like that, the one applicable, okay, it will be equal to 46 centimeter minus 29 centimeter. So at the end of the day, I will have a riser height of how many? Let me punch it. 46 minus 29 will be at 17 centimeter. So at the end of the day, what is going to be applied on chantier, what is going to be measured and cut on the chantier in the work, in the process of formwork of the staircase, will be a riser height of 17 centimeter. This value is applicable, is measurable. I hope you are seeing the difference between an engineer and a scientist, because for a scientist, this is where his calculation will end, but the engineer will always go far further to make sure that the answer that he got is actually applicable on site. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. If you have learned something new, don't forget to leave a like. If you enjoy the channel, always subscribe at the end of the video, or even at the beginning of the video. Please just click the notification box and follow us, and leave a comment to encourage the channel. If you have some remark or worry, just leave it in the section comment so that we can improve and see how to correct. Okay, thank you very much.